Enter the wagon. Ooh, do you really like it? Is it wicked? We're loving it, loving it, loving it. We're loving it like this. Big up to my main brother, Tim Westwood, knocking it right out the house. You feel me, fam? Over there, BBC Radio 1 with Tim Westwood. Wow, you've been punked. Let's turn that old Renault Clio into a street machine worthy of the gods. Tim Westwood. Yeah, fam, you feel me? Check it. What the fuck am I talking about? Sorry about that. That was the first F-bomb of the night. We have no one currently in the room with us tonight. I think everyone's out and about. Springtime is in the air. People are like, ooh, the winter's over now. Let's go and have a party. So we got Spider Nugent in the room. Add to stream. Yes, please. Hello, Spider Nugent. Tell me more.
Have you heard about
Ginger Charles Manson.
the revelation about who Spider Nugent is now in Coronation Street?
Spider Nugent, man, he was a great geezer. He was an eco warrior, going out with Toya Braxton. I mean, Toya that has been. I was just making a joke.
Back. He's come back in Coronation Street.
Who, Spider?
Yeah, and it turns out the whole time he was an undercover cop.
He was just trying to get into Tyrone's knickers. Do you remember Tyrone's mum? She's like, "Oh, Deirdre, what's wrong?" Margie Clark, who's a sound woman. I'm looking at the dog here, trying to snaffle the food off the cat. Malish. It must be so bizarre just to see, like you've got the cat that's eating from the bowl, and the dog is literally like half a meter away, just staring at him. Purple Haze, how are you doing? Love the orange beanie, man. Thanks very much. It does keep my dome warm on these cold winter's nights. We've had an unexpected snowfall here this week. We had 12 degrees Celsius last week, and we're like, ooh, that's a nice touch. And next thing, a big snowstorm came in, and we've had snow for a week now, which I don't mind. Hello, Roisin. How are you? Roisin Knack is in the house. Great stuff all together. Great stuff. But where is everyone, Dr. David? I mean,
everyone, they're out dogging or something. Did your mom watch
Kevin Murphy's not.
Did your mom watch Coronation Street?
Oh yeah, Coronation Street and EastEnders were always on. I watch EastEnders because there's something I like about EastEnders. I've seen episodes of Coronation Street since, and it's gone very weird, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Bob Dylan's a big fan of it.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah, watches Coronation Street. He said in an interview recently. But what I always thought was weird.
I watched Coronation Street show you got over there, and the old days of Jack and Vera Duckworth, and Spider Nugent was a great character, brought a lot of young, youthful energy.
Wrote a concept album about
Betty's Hot Pots,
about Richard Hillman.
Oh, we got two big units just popped into the chat as well. We got Shawneen and Kieran, two hard lads on the chats. Keith Wishy, hello Keith. They're all propaganda with messaging in it for their agenda. Yeah, well, this is true. I will basically say there has been a lot of things that you see. I enjoy watching Coronation or EastEnders because it's kind of like a way of condensing the current zeitgeist into a half an hour soap opera based around a fictional part of East London, but you kind of get a flavor for what's going on in just pop culture, really, But hello, Garrett32. You're welcome to the show. Cool to be here.
I did that as well a little bit. Like
Glen Rowe, that just for me, I think moving to Ireland at 13 or 12, I think it was in its last days of.
Yeah, it didn't go on that long. It was only on for a few years.
Oh, because I thought it was going on for many moons. I used to think it was like a First City, but a one-off for the weekends.
It was but it was like it actually dealt with like the emerging Celtic tiger, and like I always thought it's like with Fair City, this like it's like one small street, and yet you've got people of like completely different socioeconomic like backgrounds and classes. Like it doesn't really make sense.
It sounds a little bit like Taffin.
It sounds a lot like Taffin,
minus the tits and the fighting.
But how did like surely that should have been a career ender for Pierce Brosnan.
Listen to Kieran just says, "See that Lira has been exposed, Martin. He left the country last year and has been in Amsterdam streaming, pretending to be in Ukraine still. All my heroes are dying." Um, Fade Street for the win. I loved Fade Street. It was really cool. They had like a soundtrack made by this band called Kid Karate, and they were really cool. I used to go to the Rustic Slate where Dylan McGrath, he was basically making steaks on a slate. So the slates, they go into the oven, right, or whatever they do them in a kiln. I don't really know, but they heat the slate up to a really high temperature, and you drop the steak onto the tile, the slate tile, and it cooks. And you can turn it over, then you can leave it on as long as you like. Then you can serve it to yourself with butter and garlic and parsley mixed in with it, and it's very nice.
I never liked that thing about the cooking your own steak on the stone.
Yeah, I mean, you go into a restaurant for someone to cook the steak for you. And you're
Yeah,
like,
properly, expertly.
Expertly, yeah.
Yeah, I'd never. But Fade Street was great because it was like the death throes of the Celtic Tiger.
What was the other one? Upwardly Mobile.
That was a sitcom from around 1998, 1999.
Any good?
Oh, it was fucking dreadful.
Yeah, like, that's what I kind of remember as being like, what is this shite? I felt grossed out and offended by it.
But like, I mean, Irish comedy has been broadly very poor, like over the last 40 years.
I've maintained, David, that it seems that the unfunniest people in Ireland end up on TV.
They do.
Whereas, like, you can meet people like regular people down the pub who are having stitches. And I think to be able to work in that occupation, you need to know people who are just very driven, and I don't know. It's all who you know at the end of the day.
Well, it's
all who you know and what you can offer. You know. Haj Mahaj, hello.
Most people don't really like the lowest common denominator works for a reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like this stream, David. I was talking to my bird over there. Hello, Mo. And I was saying earlier on, I was like, you know, like, I'd like to think that what I say has, you know, I might be off base sometimes, but I'd like to personally think that it's, you know, it's enlightening, and there's interesting subjects being talked about on this channel. And at the end of the day, I just want to dress up like Tyler Perry and do comedy dressed up as a woman and Miss Brown's Boys.
But RT just seems mad to me because, like, I don't know of any other TV station where there's a license fee and also they get money from advertising and they also get money from the government.
And they managed to piss most of it away on paying like really mediocre presenters that just trot out the same fucking dross week in, week out. It's like, the problem is TV is an expensive medium, and it's not expensive because what they're doing costs a lot of money. It's expensive because it's been heavily unionized, and I'm not shitting on unions, but I think these unions make sure that the boys are well paid. And I'm not talking about lads working in a fucking steel mill going, hey, the union's on strike, down the tools, boys. It's basically just like, well, he needs to get his per diem for when he's traveling, and that'll be €550 just for the travel expenses on that day. And he'll also need another €800 per day, and petrol and food and hotel and accommodation. You know, and like, so that's where the taxpayers' money is going. And like,
well, it's the groaning bureaucracy of it, but also like, I think, like, I watched a little bit of that thing, Smother, the other day, and I just thought, like, it was like someone just watched, like, a Scandi drama and said, we try that here?
What was this? What were you watching?
It's the thing on RT called Smother. It's set in Clare.
Yeah, and is it deliberately really kind of like low color, blue, cold looking? Yeah, so they basically just... Because that vibe, that color, I don't know, it's like a real Swedish thing that any drama that they have here in Sweden is always like the color is really washed out in the grading. Yeah, and it's like just cold. It's like that's the whole Scandinavian film vibe. It's like, but everything is very
aesthetic though. Like, that's not our like aesthetic. It just seems like
Yeah, they're
Like,
just taking the style and applying it to somewhere that wouldn't look like that. You know what I
but
mean? It's like,
there's just this insecurity about like it just seems that RT needs to borrow from everywhere else first.
yeah, but I mean, like, how much money did they piss away on just like, you know, repurposing syndicated shows such as like, what was that one? Rebel Wilson. It was like, she was, I can't remember. Was it Fat Lass, the name of the show? Can't remember. It was like Rebel Wilson. And
I remember that one.
Well, Ugly Betty. Don't miss Ugly Betty on Network 2, 9
But
o'clock
they
Monday. Network
used to
2.
buy. I mean, they used to rerun Friends and everything all the time. But then, like even things like first dates, like which must be one of the cheapest programs to make.
Oh, first dates. Another one is Take Me Out. Just like
But
fucking
the premise is awful.
franchises.
The premise is really really dreadful because like it's kind of
You know,
it just seems really like I don't know how people are heartbroken when they go on it, and just like the sheer level of rejection.
I think a lot of people, David, it's like, you know, if they don't have any access to get onto television via like the fact that their talent is, let's say, rare and groundbreaking. You know, it's like if they don't get noticed, it's like, well, how can normal people end up on TV and they can basically be picked out of a shortlist from applying for like first, what was that, Married at First Sight as well? Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, Married at First Sight, yeah, which
It's
is a
like,
terrifying idea.
it just trivializes the fucking sanctity of marriage. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we're gonna get this couple are going to get married. They don't even know each other, but they're going to be man and wife. And then it's like after like 2 days, it's like, nah, mate, nah.
But like, it's kind of you must have to be a certain kind of person to do it because, like, the idea I think for most lads of going on to take me
BBW
out.
Aussies. Now I get it, Rebel Wilson. Sorry, because I was like BBW Aussies. That sounds exciting, and I was like, oh yeah, I get you.
But for most men, the idea of going like there's like whatever 20 women, and each one of them looks at you and presses a button to indicate a color that they find you repulsive. Like,
Oh yeah,
you must need either like a really thick skin or
or
just
a really thin
want
brain.
exposure that much. Like it's I'm just amazed people do it, and I'm amazed that it caught on in Ireland as well.
Yeah, well, look, it's easy and cheap to make. You just buy the brand and repurpose it then.
I mean, the Tommy Tiernan show, which kind of has its ups and downs. Apparently, no other country is interested in it. Like I read that the other day that like or I listened to it, I think, in a podcast he was on.
Wait, which show was this? The one where Graham Russell, he's so sound. Graham Russell in the comments he's found, bringing cheer and mirth to the boys, smoking bowls, making some noise. So just a little song there for Graham Russell. Hello, Graham. Always
it
welcome.
Scanned well. It scanned well.
It did, yeah, it did. It scanned well.
But it's Scandinavian, but like I like that premise because like it cuts away the whole thing about like the talk show of like they're all scripted, obviously. Like
Well, you know, I've been on reality TV, and not even reality TV. It's like when I went to first study television in Ballyfermot when I was a kid, it kind of ruined it for me in terms of like if you're watching a documentary or like an interview someone's doing with a guest, and then they just like they film the other person going like this. They do like cutaways just of like, can you just nod a bit? Can you be like angry? So it's like you give the reactions and then just cut them in, and it's like I felt that it was just not. It was even things that are supposed to be factual or curated unless you just do one continuous take without editing it. So
but
that
like,
kind of.
But even on talk shows, like
yeah,
like I mean, when you went on the Brendan O'Connor show, I think what you tried to do is introduce a bit of anarchy.
Oh man, I was going to trash the place, and looking back, I should have. But they complained about it anyway. We should have really given them something to complain about.
But like the the whole thing about chat shows is that like they've usually people have something to sell. It's scripted, whatever.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's that's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's like any chat show. It's like they're on because they're pimping something out, or they're selling something. Whereas like if you watch this as a person who was never really in TV before, you kind of you just watch it. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy's on for a chat. You don't see the behind the scenes where they're actually there to promote something. You're just thinking, oh, they've got this person on randomly for a chat. But I guess that's just maybe I'd never really paid much attention to it.
But it is sincerity because like they're not necessarily trying to sell something, and like there's all, but like I just don't think there's appetite for that generally because like there's something mutually lucrative, which is somebody appears on TV, they get ratings, but also they get to promote whatever shit that they're doing at that time. But you can tell when they don't want to be there. The greatest one I ever saw was Joaquin Phoenix on like Jimmy Fallon or something, and
Mm.
you can just tell like he's been told to do it, and he doesn't want to be there. You know,
Yeah, I mean Jimmy Fallon, man, what the fuck's going on with that lad? I saw him. There's a video came up the other day of him dancing with Shakira to TikTok videos, and I was like, it's just so fucking.
is she not in trouble for something?
Who knows, man?
She's not in trouble for tax evasion or something.
I was gonna say that as a joke, tax evasion. She did a Wesley Snipes and got fucking. I mean, the whole thing about tax. We could even discuss that because sometimes you think like, if you manage to just like, if everything you paid for, you had to pay for yourself. I don't know. Let's not go there because I'm like.
Do you remember when Wesley Snipes went to jail? Was that before or after he was in Demolition Man?
Thank you very much, Sean, my man, you're an absolute legend. Much love. We'll be over to you in Chicago, my man. And I'm going to grab you in my arms and caress you tight in the heat of the night and say, Shawneen, 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 we're going to get ourselves a deep pan slice. And we will enjoy the sights and sounds of Chicago. So sorry, David, for cutting you off there. I just wanted to sing that ode to Shawneen. He's a good fucking lad, and he has me back on Twitter. Oh, himself and Kieran, man. The boys have the fucking. Just like yesterday, I was on Twitter. Sorry, if you get back to that point, I saw there's this one dude who's I can't remember some. I don't follow him, but it comes up and this man was killed today, fighting for the great fight that is the war. And it was like just loads of comments, and I just said something along the lines of like, look, an immediate ceasefire should happen, and I don't care who fucking started it. If you're cheering either side on without the possibility of peace, you're part of the problem. And there was about 50 or 60 fucking comments of just wankers. I'm half a mind just to do one of those Twitter live spaces and just like fucking go on, let's have it. Come on, yeah, and just see the thing is I never get mean or aggressive. But I was thinking maybe if I just was straight up fucking scorched earth policy, just went to town on some people with like expletives and swear words and cussing them out. But then they say you've lost the argument then, David.
But do you think anyone ever changes their mind on the basis of what they read on Twitter?
Nah, man, they don't want to. It's like, it's that's it. Anton, someone ain't it? Yeah, another person who's been popping up on my Twitter is this guy called Brian Cranstonstein, and it's like there's just so many mad weird fuckers over in the States, man, and they're all like they're paid with PAC money, and it's like Joe from Jersey, I'm Joe from Jersey, and she's just one of these like Brooklyn dad kind of people who just pop up because they're paid to write shit on Twitter, and they always come up around. Election time. Thank you very much, Purple Haze, for the super sticker. Super sticker, I like it so. Super sticker, won't you go with the flow? But David, please continue on.
I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, with Twitter. I don't think people like. I kind of wonder whether, like, I like to think of myself as the kind of person that like. I changed my mind on the basis of here's something new and I think, okay.
Yeah, to be cerebrally flexible.
Yeah, I liked. Well, I tried to be, but
Hmm.
I just wonder if Twitter is about battling and about being sure
I
yourself.
think it is, man. I think it because it just seems to be like a lot. Even the content that I follow, a lot of people are kind of. It looks like the even people who I kind of would follow. I've accumulated people, but it does seem to feel like since it's been opened up, like people on because like you've got your fucking moderate left, moderate right, centrist, far left, far right. Okay, and this is a whole like spectrum of different different people of different backgrounds, ideology, sexuality, needs, priorities. Each person has their own difficult or their own different set of values that kind of fall along this spectrum, let's say. And since like because for anyone who had any anti-establishment takes, they're all censored or kicked off or deplatformed. But a lot of these channels that have come back, it's like they're coming back now, and it's like lots of racial stuff, like like oh look at these black guys are beating up this white kid. It's like and there's a lot of that shit lately, and it's kind of like you just kind of think what's going on here, man? Is it like trying to stoke up
Yeah,
tensions, and thank you very much for the other super sicker there, Papa Hayes. Papa Hayes, all in my brain. There are things that don't seem the same. I was gonna say we should have a thing called a chat show, David, right? And the concept is this. The concept of the chat show is you get Conor McGregor to host a TV show, chat format, right?
hmm
And it's like people take pills, and it's called a chat show. Because
okay.
you take chats and then you go on a show. It's called a chat show. But if BBC won't do it, Sky will.
But I think, yeah, I think actually I read this book. You're talking about people who are all standard deviations from the norm. Where's that gone? And
Oh, sorry, I
somehow
put it back up. Hold on.
ruining the show.
Proper chats. Oh yes. You're talking about people who are all three standard deviations from the norm, and somehow they're ruining the show. What more can you offer on this, Sean? I must know more. Interesting touches from Sean. So, how's life, David? Man, how have you been?
I've been sick as a plane to Lords for
Have
about
you been a
3.
wild rover for many a year? Did you spend all your money on whiskey and beer?
I spent it all on doctor's visits, and I'm finally getting back on my feet. It's just at COVID,
Were
something
you doing a
happened.
bit of ironing, were you?
I was, yeah, it was something after I got COVID in January, and it just never really left me. Uh, it was like I had this really persistent nausea, and I was like, I can't be COVID. But yeah, it seems to have been. So that was January, February, end of March now. So kind of coming out of it at this point, but it just seemed to really kind of link. Some people get lucky and they get a bad cold for a couple of days and they're grand, but it kind of the aftermath was worse,
Mm.
really, in a way. I didn't lose my sense of smell or taste. That's the only thing that didn't happen. But yeah, just migraines that would pop up out of nowhere. It was weird. Now maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but that's what I think it was. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Apparently, in Sweden, there's about 9 different viruses going around at the moment because I've just been fucking getting colds every few days. Kids are off with colds. My young fellow's off school this week. Daughter
Yeah.
was sick there yesterday, but I made her go in anyway because it was like you spent too much time off. But apparently, there was a whole load of different viruses floating around, and just like
You
every
must
week there's another one.
You must have had most of them going around because of your kids in school.
Um, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, like they they're a great conduit for getting new viruses, but I suppose if it fucking doesn't kill you, it'd make you stronger. That kind of job. I'm going to show you something here now. You probably watched this, but I'm gonna show you this little, share this little touch, just because it was Roisin who mentioned the Yeah, Cheggers naked. So I thought I'd get that, and I would play that so you could see Naked Jungle. That was, but this is This is like something that's been. There's a guy here called Down Chunder. He's got the same amount of followers as me, but some of his videos are fucking hilarious, man. Like he does videos of like Brookside and Coronation Street, and but he just adds really funny touches into it.
Oh, that's in Macbeth. In a version of Macbeth in 1971. That's the first
Swap
one.
Shop. Cheggers plays pop.
Hello, and a warm welcome to a game show with a difference.
I like a bargain.
Hello, and a warm welcome to the Naked Jungle. Come on, we're going to take our clothes off, and you should only do it at home. I mean, I don't know why I'm doing it, but there you go. I mean, you want to
When
show?
was this?
I think it's in like
I really don't
mid
know. Graham is
'90s.
our oldest
Was
contestant.
this like
You would really like to be
somewhere
on
late
Gladiators.
90s?
Yes, I'd love to be on Gladiators.
There's not much difference
Barbara,
between
who's
this
44
and
comes
Naked
from
Attraction, that show.
44.
Right.
And
Oh, she looks so good.
This is like a
That's
brass, I
44.
think.
Yeah.
And I come from Kent.
You'd never have guessed it, would you? That's the pool of death. Now look, here in the
He's
pool
got
of death.
tits himself, man.
All right, enough of that. Thank you very much.
His
The
tits
rest
are
of you,
on
come
par
and
with the
join me
ladies in the
chasm of doom.
the studio with him in the chasm, the chasm of
Take one of
doom.
these planks away.
I
Because
don't,
I'm mean and nasty like that. You ready for this, Mr. Bacon? I hope so. It's the biggest hose I've seen around here today. What could be more normal than shoving your cock up a bloke's arse? You're a little tough, you all in. Hey, punching everybody about. Okay, here we are again in the chasm of doom. Bit like watching Bullseye, innit? Nope.
was he well at the
Well, get a
time?
move on, love. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Oh, dear, is she all right? Helen, you all right? What a shame. Good game, good game. That's all from us. We've had a cracking time here at Naked Jungle. How do I explain this to her mother? I've just done the most unprofessional job in my entire career.
Was he in Big Brother too?
I don't know.
Give me a minute, will you, Keith?
He probably was.
I'll be with you in a minute.
I have to say though, he was very funny in extras.
He was really good. Just the kind of the demented
My
version.
sister buried me today.
But like
Buried your
he was,
sister.
he was in Life's Too Short as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. No,
He was
when they're
really
all having the conversation with Cat Deely in the room, it's like, oh, maybe we should watch that as well. That's fucking brilliant, man.
Would you get a copyright strike though?
It's worth it, man. It's just, it's basically for entertainment's sake, and it's more of a. If I get a copyright strike, I'm fucking sick of it, man. Sick of it. But I don't know. If you just show that a little bit of
Steve
it,
Brody's in that scene as
Yeah.
well.
Steve Brody's fucking hilarious, man. It really is. It's such a pleasure having him in the Hardy Books because he's just top tier. Like he was in nearly every major comedy show that I grew up watching.
Yeah, he was in Armando Iannucci. He was in The Office. He was in Alan Partridge. What else was he in?
He was in the Office. He was in. Yeah, did you say Armando Iannucci show?
Yeah, he plays the barber.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I got one. You're a Cockney, ain't you? Yeah, that's right. I've got a joke for you. It's called what was it? What did the dyslexic Cockney say? It's like trouble and strife, desks. He's like, shouldn't be doing that. Mixing up his vowels and his diphthongs like that. Shouldn't be doing that. Who is he? He's like, I don't know. Could be Johnny, Frank. Johnny Franks? I know Johnny Franks. Lives in the flats in Bow. I don't know. He's like, where does he live? He's like, I don't know. Bow? Johnny Franks lives in the flats in Bow. I know that guy. It's time to go around there and, what was it? Sort out this syntactic cripple wrongcock or whatever it was he said.
Alan Ford is just one of the best actors.
Yeah, well, I'll have to show you that as well, man. We'll
I
get
will
that
have
one.
matters from Parkhurst.
Do you read the Observer? Yes, I take the Observer.
Say about Hamlet.
Yeah. Did you read the part where there was a review of a theatrical play by Harold Pinter? What did it say? Read it on page 32.
I don't give a shit what you thought it said, love, or what you heard about it.
See now why making new friends? What was his like? What I said about making new friends? 1 second.
He was in Toast of London as well. He's been in it a couple of times.
Not like the animals.
Little lie, did they? I mean, like, if I was an alligator, for example, you know, I wouldn't go around thinking,
I
oh,
think
no,
he just made this up on the spot.
Yeah, I
I
would have.
wouldn't want my nose to be surgically altered or nothing like that, because then I wouldn't be able to eat my prey, would I? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's they take a very practical approach. I think the animals, it's you know, kangaroos, like your kangaroos. I mean, they look stupid, don't they, with all that hopping about, all the hoppity hop and everything like that. You know, but they're probably thinking, yeah, all right, I'm doing all the hopping. You know, it's a bit boring, but you know, on the plus side, I'm in the Guinness Book of Records. You know, I hop really well. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I feel sorry for them now, the kangaroos. I do feel a bit sorry for them, actually, because they got that pouch. You know, that pouch is like, it's not, it's like actually, it's a part of their body. Like, it's not like they're going out and bought it. They can't help it. They have to have the pouch all the time. I'd hate to be a marsupial. But, you know, I wouldn't like that. I'd hate to be a marsupial. I'll tell you one that I feel sorry for is the little baby kangaroos.
Yes.
You know, I can't remember what do you call them,
Yes.
Jimmy's or Johnny's
Jimmy's.
or Joey's or something. I think it's a Joey actually. I think I saw a program
It
about
is
it once. I think they call them
top
Joey's.
class.
Anyway, like the little Joeys, they're in the pouch,
Cereals.
and they
But
can't
the
see nothing.
confidence is
You know,
incredible.
when they're little, they can't see above, you know, nothing like that. They ain't got the
Confidence is
periscope or a hole
incredible.
in
Like,
the pouch or
there's
anything. They
no
can't see
break
that.
at all.
So
Yes.
for them, you know, it's probably like, I know, it's like they've been kidnapped or something, like they've been stuffed in the boot of a car or something like that, you know. So they probably spend like the first 3 months of their lives thinking that they're growing up in Sicily or somewhere like that, and then they pop their head above, and suddenly they think, bugger me, I'm in Australia, you know. And, you know, it must be a bit of a shock, I should imagine, and it would be traumatic for them. But kangaroos, they don't get no counselling. He just has to face up to it and accept it and get on with his life. You know, I think we can learn a lot from the animals.
Oh man, stream of conscience is legendary. So
But
surely.
they those went on, like, they took a risk by allowing those to go on for like 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, big time, man. But like that, he just did it because it was funny. What's your man's name? Alan Ford.
Alan Ford, yeah.
Oh, here he is.
Mhm.
Cockney thug. Hey, you're Cockney, ain't ya?
And I'll tell you what, I had some of that screaming fire coming out of my fridge the other day.
All right.
I've had the blood flooding down the walls.
Yeah.
I've had the carpets rucking and swearing and all of that. And
Carpets
every
are rucking
morning
and
there's a
swearing.
bloodstained dagger lying outside my room. Anyway, turns out that I'm allergic to dairy products. And no, I went to the doctor, and the doctor says that, you know, apparently that butter brings me out in ghosts. So
How much longer are you going to be, Luca?
I want
much
more than
longer
5
be,
minutes,
Luca?
my friend. Oh, yeah, hang about. You're a Cockney, ain't you? You'll like this one. This is Cockney, and he's dyslexic. And he does all the Cockney rhyming slang and everything, but he gets it wrong because he's dyslexic. All right? So he says things like, for example, trouble and strife, desks. Yeah? Yeah, nice one.
What do you mean, a dyslexic Cockney?
Well, it was just a joke. He gets all these rhyming slang wrong. So he says, you know, frog and toad, wife, because he's dyslexic. So that if he wants to give you the finger, he does this. See that?
He shouldn't be doing that dyslexic business. Fucking mixing up vowels and diphthongs, mixing them all up. He shouldn't be doing it.
Oh, no.
Where does he live?
No, it's just a little joke, really.
Tell me.
Well,
Tell
you know,
me.
it could be, I don't know, Bow, Bromley by Bow.
Bow,
Could
near
be
Bow,
Bow.
by the flats.
Yeah, it could be in the flats. In the,
I know the flats in Bow. What's his name?
Yeah, you know, I don't know.
Knows them.
John, Frank.
Johnny Franks, who lives in the flats in Bow. I know it. I'm going to sort out this syntactic cripple once and for all. This dirty, no good, evil, alphabetical fuckpig.
See
I
what
re-
happens now when you try to make new friends.
I love that where he goes to fix the dishwasher by threatening it.
Oh yeah. Oh 1 second. I need to stop sharing that. Do you ever enjoy watching Boys from the Black stuff?
Yeah, but it was just like it was brilliant, but it was so grim.
Yeah, I
Like-
think that's why it was so good.
Like it had funny moments, but just like there were just moments where who's the Bernard Hill? He's in Lord of the Rings, isn't he?
Bernard Hill, he played King Theoden. What would you have me do?
And he says that what's your name, Father Dan? Oh, well, I'm desperate, Dan. Like it was really, but actually I don't know if you remember in Father Ted, there's the guy at Father Jack's funeral who's he's really overwhelmed and he's like, "You bastard." Remember him?
Oh, 1 second. What's going on here? I like the way they put the Brookside. They put the Brookside theme over this. Shake hands. I'll share this with you now. Break top. Shake hands. So I like the way they put the Brookside stuff. Oh, that's the wrong one. 1 second. Do you remember Brookside, David?
Yeah.
Someone really went to town on the old Windows edit. Like, there's just no need for that.
That I'm shaking hands because I was at a hospital the other night where I think there were actually a few coronavirus.
It's a cranky.
Patients, and I shook hands with everybody.
Shake hands.
You'll be pleased to know, and I continue to shake hands.
One man. Liverpool Echo, mate. What's he trying to say here? Like, it's like someone's just discovered that you can make these weird little videos. Okay, we're gonna skip forward here. It's a bit self-indulgent. Let's just get to the proper bit.
Shake hands. Shake hands was a bouncer in town. Oh, come on.
He was in a low.
He was.
And Porridge.
Look, that looks like Bob Hoskins.
But I'll let you off this time.
Sam Kelly is that actor's name.
That one there.
I can't do shakes. I've got dermatitis.
Got dermatitis.
Shake hands.
Shake hands.
The manager for the Eagles got a shotgun.
Pint of better there, boss.
What do you want? An ambulance, man. No, I'll have a pan of bitter shakes.
Pint of better,
boss. I'd only shoot myself if I had one. Those dickheads over there slip some speed in the slops. Knowing full well he drinks the dregs.
Shake hands. Shake hands now.
Shake hands now.
I talk to myself. Shake hands. Pint of bitter for the boy.
Pint of bitter for the boy.
Make that 3 pints, boss. I talk to myself. Shake hands.
It's kind of bordered on documentary. Like,
Yeah.
Just freaking look at them.
Large brandy, Michael. Much appreciated.
King Theoden himself. He was a huge man. He was just a lad on the edge. Looks like
always
brother-in-law Mike.
he always sweated, didn't he?
Yeah.
Shake hands.
Slow motion.
Why did I have to do this?
But his performance in that was just defining.
Brilliant.
Just as a guy on the edge the whole time, just on the edge of mental breakdown.
The hand slipping away. Another pint of bitter there, boss.
Another pint of bitter, boss.
What is bitter anyway? I've never even tried it.
But there was a really famous one. Here's a job where he
It's a job,
goes, "That's
yeah.
not
I
a
can do
brick
that. I
wall.
can do that.
I can do that. Here's a job." Yeah, all right, here we go. Yoz's headbutts.
Mm.
So there's a compilation of headbutts, which
I wonder if he was like a forerunner of Begbie. A bit.
probably was, yeah. Oh, there he is, the Irish lad.
Yeah, he was in Father Ted.
Oh, the Irish one was.
Yeah, he plays the guy at Jack's funeral.
Hey, Dan.
Oh.
Dan.
I'm desperate, Dan.
That would have been like that scene right there in particular, like showing that in Ireland in the 80s, like headbutting a crucifix.
Give us a job.
Oh,
Go
we
on,
can
give
get away with it.
us a go. Go on. I could do that. You don't have to walk straight.
But
I
like
can
it's
walk
like he's
straight.
been driven insane.
Go on, give us
Yeah.
a job. Go on, give us a go.
But the 80s was all that Broken Britain stuff, like our friends up north. Remember that?
Yeah, our friends up north. I was talking to I met Christopher Eccleston once in London.
Really?
Yeah, he was sound enough, but then he left and that. I think Paul Gallagher was doing was fucking nutting because he was like, "Who's the best fucking Manchester defender?" He was like, "Paul Scholes." No, he's fucking not, you daft mank bastard. Yeah, it was a bit. You see, gives a job.
Yeah, Christopher Eccleston is he's done a lot of really, really great stuff. I think he was Doctor Who for a while, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. I mean, like Doctor Who used to be good back in the 70s, and then it's just like went a bit shite.
Come on, get them all. Come on.
Look at this, getting the kids to build the wall with him. Doesn't have a clue what he's doing.
Mm.
That's not a wall.
You can't leave gaps like that. It's for ventilation. Christ.
But like, I kind of found that I watched this years ago, but like I wasn't right after it for a couple of days because the performance was just so fucking
visceral.
You just got the sense that he was just totally on the edge, and but like that must take a lot out of you.
Yeah, of course, man. It's like if you're, I mean, sometimes like when people talk about acting, you know, you've basically, even though you're not going through those emotions for real, but you still have to go to those places of feeling during a performance. So it's like it takes a lot to get into what the character has to do, and it's not easy, to be fair. I mean, a lot of people see the success, but they don't really see the grind. I mean, like, there are certain parts I wouldn't want to play just because it'd be like, oh, I don't want to have to do that in real life.
But it's like when you've had a nightmare, like your body experiences it as if it really happened.
Right, is in when you. I remember watching Bloodlines on Netflix,
and
that just gave me really fucking. I nearly had a panic attack watching it. Plus, I was on the extra strength snooze as well, which just made me even more fucking. So I felt really unsettled, and especially in the third series when everything started to kind of unwind. It was it's very jaunty.
Very jaunty, but like the way like when you have a nightmare, like your body when you wake up, like your body has been through it, like your body
a bit like that. What was that film with Edward Woodward? Oh no, Donald Pleasance, where he's out in the desert. It's called
Waking Fright.
Murphy. Waking Fright. Yeah,
that one.
That was done in Broken Hill, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, same place, Mad Max and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Hey, David, and our audience, let me just go for a quick piss, mate. I'll be back soon. You keep the show going there, David. Just address the commenters and such things. Hold on, bye.
Pretty sure I wore leg warmers through the whole 80s. Fair play to you. You a pilot? No. Trump should have got that lad to build his wall. Trump might be building one. Sing. Yeah, might be the first president to be convicted. I flew every day for 2 years, but that was a while ago. Not really sure what that means, if you got on a plane or not. Ray Liotta was a bit like that always. True. Yes, I really did have vivid dreams like that all the time. Disturbing the next day still feels like a memory. Yeah.
Look at Bon Jovi. He's only 5'3".
Is that even true? Don't even think that's true. I think Stateside spends a lot of his time in other people's dreams.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But
I like Dr. David. I think we might have Wadders joining us in about 5 minutes. Wadders.
Yeah, but just in terms of acting, like if you have to go to those places, it probably leaves you in the same way as you've just had a bad nightmare.
Yeah, yeah, it feels like it's that same kind of like, oh. Funny enough, it happened to me. I was watching Ukraine GoPro footage Monday night. I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of gunshots. Thought it was a dream. Turns out someone was actually shot. Yeah, there's a lot of fucked up stuff. I've seen some videos. It's always like the sun. Look at this man in a firefight. It's like, and then the end of it is like, share, and subscribe. It's like, it's just the fucking just bottom feeding shit. Like the there's two forces going to war, right? And let's face it, from all accounts of people who find themselves in war, the politics in the that have driven that have basically caused and continue on the conflict. It's just basically us versus them at any cost. And I guess like people who are forced to take people's life in combat situations during the heat of the moment. Did you ever see like the end of Platoon, where the NVA overrun their perimeter? And then Charlie Sheen's shooting lads from the NVA, and he turns to the guys in the foxhole with him. He goes, "It's fucking beautiful!" Like this. Like during the moment, he's really pumped. He just killed someone. He's going, "It's fucking beautiful!"
Hot Shots really took the piss out of that as well.
The body count.
The body count, yeah. But like you kind of wonder the balance to strike between like you're supposed to have a responsibility, I think, to know what's going on in the world, but to what extent do you have to protect yourself?
Yeah, it's like raising kids, man, because you don't want to tell them how fucked up the world is, but at the same time, you don't want it to be in like one day just to be a huge fucking shock. So you need to kind of, I think that's what society did back in the day with things like fairy tales. They would dress up these social issues in, fantastical tales like the Brothers Grimm and whatnot. But essentially they were kind of like cautionary tales. Just, like for example, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's a very simple, like after I read that, or we read it in school when I was a kid, it was like, oh, I'll know not to go ringing people up in the middle of the night going, "I need your help now." And I was just only joking. And then one day you're like, "I do need your help." And it's like, "Oh yeah, fucking, you've told me this 19 times before."
But what's interesting actually is that like when cities began to be really established, like especially in the 19th century, that cities and newspapers and like infrastructure meant that like you could report from all over the world. Anxiety levels went through the roof.
When was it? Sorry,
like late 19th century.
After the Victorian era, was it?
Early 20th century, yeah, because like you had like the metropolis, and you had newspaper coverage, and like you could get information from one side of the world to the next. So people were finding out what was going on all over the world, and they were also being packed in together kind of tightly in cities. So it led to like.
Well, don't you think we're in an even more hyper version, like beyond hyper version? I mean, it's so exponentially. So basically, if you spend your day on the internet, let's say Twitter is a great one. This is where I was touching earlier on, where basically you have these. They're like top 10 craziest shit happening anywhere in the globe at this moment. But like that in many ways, that's how the news works. The news will take 17 people were crushed in China during a New Year's celebration. Next thing it'll be like, there was a school shooting happened in Idaho, you know, and they'll just cut together the most fantastically crazy shit. And then so the viewer is left feeling like, you know, it's like what Tommy Tiernan said in that special after 9/11. He was like, I was looking at the TV and it was like, the world is fucked. The world is fucked. And I walked outside and it looked, the sun was shining and it was fine. You know, it's like, I get what he was on about there. That obviously, yeah, the world did go did go tits up after that.
But should do we have a responsibility still
To
to
know
be
this.
informed, even though it might be to our psychological detriment?
It's a good question. I mean, there was something I remember, I'm paraphrasing this now, but it was something apparently Christ said in the Bible, which was, if you stay to one road, you don't have to look down the other road where there's bad shit happening. I did say I was going to paraphrase it, and I did do that. But basically, the thing is, like, you know, don't go looking under stones if you're going to be disturbed by the fauna that you'll find under a stone. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, there's a weird feeling that sometimes you have to be aware of these things has given the victims of these circumstances validation, and that's all that they can offer. But to know of like heinous things that have happened to people, there's nothing you can do about it. And I mean, like, yeah, sure, you can get the word out to enough people that might be able to try and influence the course of justice. But like, if you're just watching a video of like some lad who was fucking doing a bit of, you know, parkour off a skyscraper, falls and splatters on the ground, watching a video of this lad doing that isn't going to do him any good, because his time on this plane of existence is over, and you're just going to see something really fucking harrowing yourself. So there's certain things that maybe it's best off not knowing. It's a bit like if a tree falls in the forest, it hasn't made a sound.
It's like, you know, I saw on Netflix, like, you know, Saw 2 has come up on Netflix, and I just think like I don't mind sitting through a film which is really violent and gory if there's soul to it or heart to it or something to it. But I just feel like with something like that, just a little bit of your soul is taken away.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't unsee it, man. It's like when there was like Reese and Tordoff were sitting around, like we were in Reese's about, I don't know, 10 years ago, and he was like, yeah, man, I saw this fucking horrible video on Live Leak about these Chechens who'd like taken some Russians as prisoners, and like they fucking beheaded them all. And I just felt the worst for the last guy who was to be beheaded because he knew it was coming. And I was like, how can you watch that shit, man? You know, it's like, I saw something really fucked up a couple of years ago, and I don't know if it was Syrian soldiers that did it to the rebels, or if it was, I don't know who it was, but just I watched something that was really visceral, and basically guys being fucking battered to death, and they were all just like heaped on top of one another, and it was like, I won't go into too much detail because it's disturbing, but it fucking profoundly shocked me for days. It was like, it was akin to like when I first watched that scene in Casino where James Woods and Joe Pesci get buried alive and beaten with baseball bats. It was like along the lines of that, but it was real. And I was just like, I mean, it wasn't that, you know, you didn't see what happened, but yeah, these guys had fucking surrendered, man, and they were just kicking the fucking shit out of them, and just like in some fucking room. And I was just like, how can you degrade people,
but
like human beings like this, man? You know what I mean? It's like, if you're fighting in combat, I know it's easy for me to say it sitting in a kitchen, but it's like that, you know, I remember hearing a story about Gallipoli when the Anzacs were taking Suvla Bay, and you know, it was a fucking bloodbath, man. Like I don't know why they had planned the invasion of Suvla Bay, but it was just a beach, and there was like literally no way of progressing up the terrain because it was cliffs. So when all these like Anzac guys landed on the beach in Gallipoli, they were just fucking machine gunned to bits, like waves and waves of lads just getting fucking shot. And you kind of, I remember hearing like, to get revenge on, you know, obviously these guys had lost their friends in this combat, and then you had the Turkish prisoners that were taken captive. They just fucking lit them all on fire when they were stuck inside a fence like a perimeter, like where they were being held, and it's like Abu Ghraib, man. That was fair play to Seymour Hersh. He was the one who, yeah. I mean, look at the shit that like there's this subreddit called like Europe subreddit, and the hero worshipping of NATO and the EU is just it's mind-boggling, man. You got people being like, yeah, this is great. Finland is joining NATO. My opinion on that is, you know, it's supposed to be this, you know, and I was always for it in my younger years because I was like, okay, that's our side. Like, how can, you know, they're representing the West, but when that side is, you know, when it is the aggressor, it seems to be the aggressor. And look at Libya, where they completely destroyed Libya because of, you know, the fact that Gaddafi wanted to sell his gold and oil and then start the African gold-backed currency as the dinar. Then it was just like, oh, he's being, you know, I remember all the media is in sync and in concert with one another, and it's like, oh, Gaddafi is sending squads of mercenaries to harass civilians and beat them up when there's war crimes. So that the press lube up the public by claiming war crimes are taking place, and then, you know, then after that, then it's like, okay, like, we've got to free these people and form an invasion. That invasion destroyed Libya. Like before Libya was taken out, Gaddafi had a project which he himself had called it will be one of the 8 wonders of the world, where they were going to take the spill from the River Nile and re-irrigate the desert and try and reclaim it from water that was wasted, which I think it's a fucking great, ambitious project. That didn't happen because all the infrastructure was blown to bits. You can buy sub-Saharan Africans as slaves in Tripoli for $400. Yet you don't see anyone on these subreddit groups condemning what NATO did there or what NATO did in Serbia. You know, it's like, and they're getting excited that they're going to be spending, I think, like 5% of their GDP on maintaining the fucking war machine. I mean, it just feels like they're, you know, they've got all these toys, all these guns and, you know, soldiers and planes, helicopters, boats, and it's like, oh, we really want to use them aboard. You know what I mean? I think they're just itching to fucking start a fight. But I tell you, they're going to bite off more than they can chew, because most of the world outside of the Western world in Australia and New Zealand, they fucking can't stand what the West has turned into. And, you know, the West has got very fat off the backs of people living in these, you know, third world countries. That we just, you know, I saw a video coming out of the Congo there of a load of lads who were escaping that gold mine.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no reason why these people in Africa, why African nations should be this poor. There's no reason why India should be so poor. You know, and I think, like I've said on many times over the past with the stream, it's like, it was never about bringing the rest of the world up to a first world level. And if anything, they're trying to bring the West down to a third world level. And it'll be 2 tiers. It'll be a very small number of incredibly wealthy people who have everything, and the rest of us are just like fucking eating shit. And that's kind of like how it's going. Am I right or wrong, David?
I think like that there's like a lot of films are about the anxiety about that. Like, I think, you know, for all its ridiculous false Waterworld, you know, like did, you know,
What a
like
way to spend a holiday.
what, like Waterworld, Mad Max, like it just seems that literature and film has always just sort of predicted some apocalyptic event that we can never come back from, that we'll have done to ourselves, whether it's Mad Max or whether, you know, like whether
it's just, you know what I see, David, the older I get, is just reckless greed, psychopathy, and self-serving of interests. You know, it's just like people are just the very people in power are the worst people that could be in power, because, you know, it's like the TV game but on fucking heavy dust. And they're just fucking, I mean, like, at least narcissistic celebrities look good, so like at least they've gotten plenty of attention in the past. If you take those narcissistic needs of people in civil service and politics, but they don't have the looks or the charisma. They just basically have the power. It's even more like Dickensian in terms of like how fucked up they are.
Well, I think the idea of the rules of engagement of capitalism are that like just get as much as you can, and that's what you owe to yourself. And like it's interesting that like I got an ad on my Facebook there for ethical pensions.
Ethical pensions. What does that mean? They're not going to rob it off you later on.
No, naive as I was, I didn't realize that if you invest in a pension somewhere, you have no idea what they're doing with your money. Like they could be investing in landmines or weapons or whatever it is. So like with an ethical pension, they guarantee that they won't put it into something like that.
So people are trading people's pensions to buy commodities, and some of those commodities are in weapons of war, basically.
Yeah, like
Wow, I never knew that.
Oil, weapons, yes. So like
So you got
basically
hedge fund bankers who leverage people's pensions on these open markets in order to. Do you know? Like here's the thing. I've never really. I've fuck all saved for a pension, but the way I think about it and what I've seen, like take example Ireland after the recession, or France or Cyprus, where they were just like, no, we're taking that. Is I think your pension ultimately lies in the community that you've curated, and that's how it should be. I think family and close friends are basically where the true value is in life. And if you look at Sweden, for example, they started with the Million Project in the late 60s and 70s, where they wanted people to be independent of family and friends. So the way they did it is, at the time, they put people into quite reasonable apartments, like in up to like the early 2000s. It was working, it was, you had healthcare was very cheap and accessible, which it still is, to be fair. If you compare like to the American model, where if you break an ankle without travel insurance, that will cost you upwards of fucking $75,000 just to go in and get your ankle fixed, and we're here in Sweden, if you go to the doctors, it's like, yeah, that'll cost you about 20 quid. So that, it's that's something good about, like here. And to be fair, like I'm sure Sweden does piss away a lot of people's taxpayers' money, but you do get, you see it with schools and healthcare and infrastructure. But they're like anywhere else, they're just jacking up the prices on everything. It's like
we're gonna be working till we're about 80 though.
Will we?
Well,
if I'm 80 and they're expecting me, I'll fucking just get into crime or something. You know what I mean? So I'm not fucking doing that at that age.
So there's a proposal to raise the pension age in France, and there were riots.
General Armageddon says, if you have savings, you should convert them to silver or yen. Biden murdered the dollar to save the EU central banks. If you want my honest take, right, and it's right there, you can see what, there seems to be some sort of weird karmic thing that they have to do, these people who are running the shop. And it's like when Klaus Schwab did his World Economic Forum predictions of 2030, it said America won't be the leading nation in the world. It will be like a collection of 5. And they're really taking down the States, man. England is fucked. Like England used to and the thing is, you got the likes of like the royal family who don't give a shit about the people of England. They'll have their touch, and they don't give a shit what happens. And I think if you look at the 2030 predictions, when they said America won't be the leading nation, they're softening it up from the inside with all this fucking ideological subversion. And that's where culture and TV and music comes into it. It's basically, young people are the ones that, was it the Jesuits say, give me the boy and I'll give you a man?
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. It's like you corrupt the minds of the youth, and then they grow up to be easily malleable and isolated from community. Like we were talking before the stream with the Brass Eye pedophile special, for example. All those, like the sensationalism in the media, like of like nonsense, like it had everyone scared shitless, man. It was like there was a nonce ready to just jump out of a bush also known as bush dodgers.
in
They were ready to diddle you in a heartbeat.
in an episode of Heartbeat, but I do think that Gen Z are gonna have a healthier attitude to work, which is that they're gonna basically they're gonna work exactly for what they're paid for and no more. Like the kind of the boomer / millennial thing of you give it your all. I think Gen Z are gonna say no, fuck it, I'm paid from 9 to 5.
Did you ever see that episode of Heartbeat where there was a character called the B-Row Man? It was turned out to be some crazy woman going around with a flour bag over their head.
No.
The next day, everyone was really shitted up on the Monday about the B-Row Man.
That's like Ghost Watch or Threads.
Threads, man. We should watch the best. Watch the very best of Threads.
Threads, the greatest hits.
They've opened up this episode of Heartbeat with Beck's Bolero by Jeff Beck. There's someone holding a guitar, and I don't really know what's going on. But it was funny because my brother-in-law Henry used to come over for dinner in 1995, and one day here we go. I'll show you this. But he used to come over to dinner, and here he is. Hey, Rodders, hey, jump in here now, Rodders. I give you the link to the chat. Greengrass was the mom, says Rodders. So let me share this. Let me see. Beck's Bolero. Okay. So here you have it. Opens up with this guitar, yeah. So you're like Nick Berry and the boys from Heartbeat. Yeah, but my brother-in-law used to say, like, what the fuck's going on with this show? Why is it so backwards? I was like, it's set in the 60s, Henry. Oh, okay. It's the B-Row Man.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and this is only Heartbeat, man. It's the B-Row Man. The B-Row Man. It was him, the B-Row Man. So, but there was a bit where the B-Row Man's just like knock it. Oh, look, there's a Bob Dylan character here. There's Claude Greengrass. Look at this, what a Bob Dylan ripoff.
Alfred. Hi there, Dad. Guess this is your dog, eh?
Come out of there, Alfred.
I was told I got away with that.
Alfred was a bit of a lurcher,
Not with
wasn't he?
this animal, you've not. Hope you realise you're camping on private property.
Property theft.
He looks a bit like the Shake Hands guy, doesn't he?
Not lately, no.
He actually does, yeah.
Shake
You'll be
hands.
15 and 6 rent.
Easy, man.
Easy, man.
Fred.
Only deal in cash.
Oh, he's got a few fucking quid on him, doesn't he? He's got a good few green queens.
Are you staying? No.
Can we go now? Bye.
They twins.
I tell you, Jason, man, when you walked through that door, I thought, it's him. It's Bob Dylan.
Nah, can't lay claim to that. But when I was rowdy with the Kinks, I picked up a few things.
Oh, yeah? What, these are the King's plectrums?
Yeah.
He seems like a man who's just bamboozling people with fast chat and anecdotes. My kind of man.
Plenty of money.
He's got a good voice and all.
Has he?
What can I get you?
I think the B-Row Man was actually a woman, which made it even more.
You're a scholar.
Look, there's Nick Berry. He used to be in Heartbeat. Oh, sorry, EastEnders back in the 80s.
Green saw the girls picnicking with that jet.
Oh, here we go. There's the B-Row Man. Look, there's the B-Row Man.
Looks like Rorschach from Watchmen.
Yeah. B-Row Man was just going around nicking stuff. The very best of the B-Row Man. Oh God, it's the B-Row Man. Linda Lusardi. There's the B-Row Man.
No, you don't. Oh!
Classic editing.
Oh. Talk about putting up a shit fight. It was like, just let me lie down on the floor here so you can do me in. The B-row man. Oh no. That's assault. So we'll find out more about the B-row man. Oh, here we go. Is this a Scooby-Doo style unmasking?
No, not really, Sarge.
He might have some jazz cigarettes in the van.
I'm afraid Biro flour's not an illegal substance.
Whatever they're on is, though, Sarge.
Well, let's find out, shall we?
What are they on? Oh, look at them all. They're all taking acid and tripping and living life to the max.
All right. That's
Bergerac.
Tanked up a bit early, aren't we?
Bergerac. What do you think about regional detective
Did you get
series?
these kids down,
There's too many of them.
How did he get to be
People like them. Let's make some more of them.
Swallow. He lives in Swaffham. He's a bit of a maverick.
You'll have to empty your
Not
pockets,
afraid to
I'm
drive
afraid.
40 in a 30
There's
mile
reason to
an
believe
hour
you might be
area.
carrying certain substances.
Got to keep the energy up because.
Knowing me, knowing Emmy, knowing Emmy, knowing you.
What's that, pot?
Intersperse it with the favorite
Leave him
pop song.
alone.
Hey, sure, Pete, I'm clean.
I want to get the B-roll man.
Well, what I'm trying to say is,
This lad here,
I'm in
the Bob Dylan
space
lad,
and
reminds
shit.
me of a friend of mine, Alex over here, Alex Lee, the artist.
You know what I mean?
These lads are getting properly steamed up.
She's a lovely woman.
Claude Greengrass, man, did he take some fucking acid, did he? Shit, here we go.
About the cake.
No, I thought it was the B-roll
What about
man.
the cake? Alfred's just eating.
Ah, here we go, it's the B-roll man again. Here we go.
Hello, Mrs. Blacks.
Where's fucking... Oh, Rod, he's waiting. Fucking hell, Rod, sorry about that.
Hello.
Fucking runners, eh?
Maggie.
Oh shit, it's the B-roll man again. So yeah, this scared us when we were kids. We were all talking about the B-roll man because usually Heartbeat was just... It was one of the... You knew your weekend was over when Heartbeat was on. It was like still early enough. It was just after dinner, but you knew as soon as Poirot came on, it was over, man. It was done.
I
stopped watching it after this. This is when Blind Boy was in it. What shit?
Blind Bow butt pump.
20 minutes of liberalism.
Look at this for a bit of fun. It's the most... Oh.
Got him. Leave it, Mr. Flax. I might have let some daylight into him and all. Step aside, PC Rowan.
You don't want to do that, Mr. Flax.
Don't want to
Don't
do
I?
that. Don't blow his face off.
Sick of the likes of him. Vandals.
We're trying to take our jobs.
Blasted heathen. Get out of here, tell them.
You're a God-fearing man. Now put the gun down.
Take his mask off then.
Take the mask off. Take the mask. Wait, you see this reveal. You're like, oh, it was one of those blonde birds.
Why would I donate for his own testicles?
Monrodders. Here we go. Scooby-Doo moment. The who done it?
Marion. Why? I want things too. It's all passing me by. Everyone's having a good time and has friends but me. I want
She was trying to rip
to
people.
be my friend. I want to live. And I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not
You
sorry.
needn't look at me like that. I might as well be in a real prison as this one.
Probably should have read her the rights before this.
Yeah, exactly. So anything she could say could be used against her in a court of law.
Any dramatic monologue might be used against you.
Well, I don't think she'll be treated too harshly. They'll probably take the view she needs help, not punishment.
Yeah, she needs a bit of help, man. Ain't nothing wrong. What about your runners? How are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good, man. Yeah. Myself and Mahal are over here chilling out, and dog is here.
Hello.
She can't hear because the headphones. What does says along? She's waving at you from beyond the screen. Do you want to jump into the stream as well, or? You sure? What's wrong with the stream?
Are you sure?
It's shit. Stream is shit. She said. We talk about internet things. Like
It's about to
she
get
said
a lot
earlier
worse.
on. She said earlier on, I don't like the internet, and I have a way better time of it. I'm like, oh, fair enough. Yeah. She watches compilations of cute cats doing stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I do get it. It's like I was saying earlier on about looking under stones for shit you don't like, and it's like every day I do that. What about you, there, runners?
Good, sir, good. I'm trying to be sober up all day by drinking wine. It's working out well, actually.
Could you turn up the gain on your mic a touch, please, Rod? So we can hear your beautiful raspy Balbuffet pipes.
I don't even know where the sound comes from this fucking thing.
What about that bar sound card?
Audio. Not much fucking.
Tell me what, did you find a locale where you can put that fantastic drum kit you've invested in?
I'm waiting for them to get back to me, man. If they let me get this place in Yardette, we have the man caves of all man caves.
Really, in Yerdit?
Yeah, big time, man.
What's the crack with that?
It's a cellar that some guy had was using as like a personal training thing. So it's like a couple of punch bags and fucking weights and all that. So
can you leave the weights in the punch bag in?
Yeah, whatever. As long as I can get my DJ stuff in there. And Christian's going to go like halves with me. So we're going to do the record label from there, basically.
Sweet, man.
The Spotify studios opened up again for us now as well.
I think getting into the Spotify studios would really bring things along.
Well, that was a big loss to us when that stopped.
Yeah.
It's good to get that back.
It's a bit like the time when Paulie Walnuts and Patsy Barisi went into that franchise in Sopranos, and he's like, "It's over for the little man."
Exactly, yeah. And it was like we run it on a socialist basis, so I've got access to the recording studio on Spotify, and people that kind of like their music or whatever would bring kind of a collective in. So the guy that is kind of doing the sound engineering is like Opeth's fucking front of house sound. Like he does a house of sound for 100,000 people in these stadiums. And he comes in and does it for free. Brian O'Connor comes in and does it for free. Like one of the greatest guitarists, one of like absolute unreal Irish guitarist. And
yeah, Brian's fantastic, man. He really is.
I was gonna just do it on a free level, and then whoever we record, then they get the masters, and it's good fun. And we're released some really good stuff before COVID, so we're going to get back into it again. And Martin's going to come in and do some stuff as well.
I fucking will. If we have a place to go with an engineer, then we can do anything we like.
Lockie's involved in this as well. Lockie's fucking really good at doing the final mix as well. Like he's really good at it.
Hey, did you hear what Roshi Mack said? Jay's Balbuffet brings back memories of my mother dragging me into McElhinney's.
Oh, Roshi, tell your mama I said hello.
Good fucking lads.
That's basically all Balbuffet is. It's like McElhinney's, and then that's it.
Did you do much drinking down Ballyshannon way, Rod?
Aye. It's
not a bad pint in Maireads.
There was like Abbott Melly's a big night in Ballyshannon for sure.
Have you been to the Rory Gallagher Festival, David?
No, never. I never really got.
Fucking brilliant.
Never really got into that much.
Actually, we should do a fucking gig there this year.
We should.
Because I'm confident at this stage, like, we'd fucking it'd be such crack. I think maybe I should get on to Johnny Gallagher and say, do you reckon you can get us to do a gig? We'll have the place fucking wedged, man.
We can get there, no baller and Sean Oaks or whatever, definitely. But
I can bring up a medley of friends such as Dr. David, just like mates of mine who are all accomplished musicians, and just fucking, it'd be like a mini version. It'd be like Maloney's Last Waltz, where basically I just bring up friends and well-wishers to like play tunes. But I can't play anything. Don't worry, man. Just play the tambourine and look busy. You'll be fine.
Need to dust off it.
It's the last wide festival left, I think, where it's like, do you know what I mean? The organization of it's just pure like fucking. You should cap on there in that field. You know, it's like okay, everybody's just still partying in the middle of the town.
But I was there in 2011, and that was myself and Pete went up, and it was just such a fucking never-ending piss up. And when we came back to Swinford, we had to do the first read-throughs for series 2 of the Hardy books, and Jane and Ailish, the executive producers, were down for the read-through. It was like Tuesday, and myself and Pete had no voice left from the Rory Gallagher Festival. We were like, oh, what you mean, Eddie, man?
Did this camp?
Well, put it this way, we didn't bring a tent with us, but we stayed in some. Right. So there was Saturday night in, I don't know if it was 2011 or I think it was 2015. we went up there, and that was the last time we went there. Stateside and Kilcoyne had gone up there too. So we were staying up at the. There was one time I bought the van from the Hardy Books film, and there was a proper mattress and bed in it. But like, it was brilliant, man. But on the Sunday, I came back to the van, and there was like a queue of like 9 people waiting to try and crash in the van. So everyone was just sandwiched into the van because I was like, oh, I can't wait to get back to this van now, and I'm gonna have a proper sleep. And then there's like a queue of people wanting a slice of the fucking double bed action. The next time I went up then was 2015, and it just was piss and rain from the get-go.
I think that was the last one I was at. I think it was 2015. I moved here in 2016. Well, yeah, that was 2015.
Is that when it just relentlessly, like the rain was coming in, it was like not even diagonally, it was just horizontal rain. And we got up to the...
It was a mud bath. It didn't stop raining for 3 days. I think the Devil's Disciples were doing security.
The Devil's Disciples, man, yeah.
There was a load of hipster kids there as well. It was like very, very kind of weird vibes as well. Like it was like, no, normally it was kind of just rock.
Well, the thing is, the Sunday is usually the best day because the Friday and the Saturday, it's full of scobes that are just like going around in tracksuits, knocking the crack out of the event. And then they peel off then on the Sunday.
Rednecks can't cope. Rednecks can't do 3 days.
Yeah, they're good, strong starters in the beginning of the weekend, and they peel off then because it's time to go home for their dinner. And you always see like dodgy fucking lads with like BMWs with like coilovers with the suspension dropped to fuck, and it's like they've got like yellow number plates. They came over from Strabane.
Do you have to
Rally
play
boys.
Strat to get in? Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Do you have to play a Strat to get in? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like people just have to like do a Strat test to see if they can play a cool bluesy riff. But saying that, if that was the case, not many people would get in. Probably be looking at about maybe 250.
A lot of people from the north, from the occupied part, have got holiday homes and all around like Donegal, Ardrop, Downings, but also around Rossnowla, Bundoran, and Ballyshannon. So if there's anything on at all, like the C sessions, what's to do?
Yeah, I always missed that because that was the week after. But
I think I was at 2 of them maybe. But our friend Meryl Streak has fucking invited us to go this year. He's playing this year along with Groove Armada.
Where's this? In C Sessions?
Yeah, in Bundoran.
Do you know what, Rod? I think if you can get into Spotify, and I can do like, because I was thinking about doing like that thing about me dad, the Vinnie Maloney super hits.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could do a concept album based on me dad, so I was like, an ode to the bog. I think I wrote a song recently. I'll give you the lyrics. See what you think of this. Where was it there? Hey, fucking. Hold on a second.
Must have been Mike.
Hold on 1 second. Let me have a little butcher's hook.
Were you getting a bit of criticism about the size of your feet on Instagram?
Yeah, some people saying it was like Mother Hubbard's gaff.
The book of the past though was like.
I wrote another song about Kofi's gaff called "Mayo Men Rockin'." So it was about our days in it's about our days in Galway. So it goes like this, but I just need to fucking record it now. Where were we?
One of my favorite songs, man. Echo and the Bunnymen.
Echo and the Bunnymen. That's another video David sent me recently with your man. What's his name? Ian McCullough.
Yeah.
You know, we should watch that actually.
They cancelled here at the last minute, and then they rescheduled like for like 7 or 8 months later. But nobody told us. We invited them to the concert, and there were nobody else. Absolutely nobody else there.
Who, the Conquerors?
In Burns.
Were they in Burns? Were they?
Yeah, and somebody must have spiked my drink or something beforehand, so I felt a bit stoned. And
yeah.
And
why would someone do that?
I was like, "Where's Echo and the Bunnymen?" And the guy was like, "They were serving dinner and all." And they were like, "What?" I was, "Echo and the Bunnymen."
Hey, David, could you get that link? You said, could you send that link, the one of the Echo and the Bunnymen, where he's just Then Morrissey came up, and I was like, "Who's this Nomach?"
Oh,
and
yeah. It's in the chat link now.
he's a bit
Private
salty,
chat.
isn't he? He's a salty boy.
Yeah, it's in the private chat there, link there.
All right, here we go. I will share it now.
What's the private chat? I feel all important. I can see this. So, Martin, did you go out last night?
I did. Fucking, it was a wild, great fun
Nothing
night.
ever lasts forever. Nothing ever lasts forever.
Gary Ablett was there.
Oh, there's another one here. Here's for all the Morrissey fans. I had to do a whole interview with that. And
he's just so
I'm
fucking
laughed again.
an odd me, Northern Soul lads, you know what I
We did it in
mean?
Adelphi, funnily enough.
Don't
Young
fucking like these
82,
guys, like, you know what I
who's this?
mean? They're just fucking upstart, no marks.
Get talking at an accent extremely rare. So I was mad at on the ale big time.
He was bladdered on the ale big time.
And I was being interviewed by this interviewer for I'd never heard of this fellow, you know. And we're waffling on. Oh, and I said, if I do this interview with this Nomach. In those days he was.
In those days he was.
And I ordered the biggest piece of meat, like I think it was duck, and I think I asked for the thing on the mouth.
Thing on the mouth.
And he ordered fish. And I'm thinking, that's hardly vegetarian, you know. Unless, even if you stuff it full of peas. And it had its head on the fish. I was made up, and the tail. And I said,
And the Bronson going on there, is there?
Oh, plenty of Bronson. It's Bronson season.
A pint. He didn't know. And we got down to the interview, and I was asked about Liverpool and Manchester. I said, I love Manchester.
Cheers, Roisin, lad. Thanks for sticking around, Roisin.
We're always most suited to Manchester kind of thing. So, and then he goes, I hear him.
There's a Michael
I'm
Huntley sale
always
starting
second
at
lad,
the middle of Easter.
He goes,
50% off.
there's a
Bring him
kind
on.
of terrific chasm between Liverpool and Manchester. Chasm. He spoils it for me, you know. You can never read any books with chasm in it, but you get which is handy because I don't read books.
Oh, that was an insightful interview there with Ian McCullough of Echo and the Bunnymen.
I'm gonna have to split because there's people trying to sleep, but I will be in touch.
Good lad. David, thanks very much for waiting it out for an hour and 20 minutes, mate. Talk to you, Jordan, the week, lad. And we will hopefully. I'm gonna get round to adding a few extra episodes of the Hardy book as well, because there's some absolutely fantastic stuff in there. What do you think so far, David, from having a little peruse through it?
It is an explosive, frenzied journey, and the task of editing it was difficult to even comprehend. But it's to use one of your own words, strong.
Have you written more stuff, Martin? Or
Yeah, but I sent it over to David to tidy it up, and I think it's such a huge task he's left now. Good night, David. But there's one thing which is it's an event that happens in Castletown called Hog Wrangling, which was imported by Scorpio Lions and the boys when they went to Blackpool. Do you remember that night you came over here and we were reading those scripts?
Yeah, fucking brilliant. Really good stuff.
It was
like, out of all them scripts you wrote that time, like there was none fucking weak in it at all. Like there was not one but a filler. I think genuinely, I told you at the time, I think it's the best Hardy book stuff I've read, like I've seen. And really good stuff. Like you need to get it done. Like
it was great crap reading it. I wish I could just hold myself to the fucking creative flames more often and just say, do it, man, you'll be happy it's done.
Oh man, they're all like I can remember all of them. Like Swell was like they had to come back and said, look, guys, it's going, man, this is fucking he needs to get this out there. Like it's I think it'd be the best stuff you've ever done, to be honest.
Yeah, we just need to get someone who can pay for the production costs and what to say here. Missy says, I want to be in a band meeting when they chose the Bunny Men. Who are the Bunny Men? What does it mean?
The Echo.
So have you been enjoying the weekend in, Rodders?
I probably overdosed a wee bit too much in the wine. I didn't know what to buy, so I
The
bought
grapes
quite
of
a lot
wrath.
And then I was chatting to our good friend Paulie G. He was saying you were putting them under pressure to put me under pressure to do this London
So
trip.
you're coming to London as well, Rodders?
I don't know, because I just right before I come on this, I was going to, and just right before I come on this call, there's a lad, a Donegal lad, he runs the Donegal London Association, basically in London. I met him in Napa, clean little blues from Balbuffet, and he's got these like top tickets for Celtic and Rangers on Friday, and everything's paid for. And like I don't support Celtic or Rangers, but I wouldn't mind to see all the hatred up close. I wouldn't mind to see that, but that's real life, you know.
Okay, we'll put this to a vote with people in the chat, and let this be. We'll do a vote with everybody. Okay, if Rod should go to the Celtic Rangers game, press 1. If Rod should come to London for the gigs in London and have Mighty Crack with myself and Stephen Kelly and other friends and well-wishers that will be there on the night, press 2.
But do you know,
just
also,
stress the crack that will be had will be just one for the record books.
A lot of that crew as well are like the Potter, Paul Gallagher, all them boys are at the man Jimmy's wedding that week before in Ireland, you know. So they're going to be fucking wrecked as well by the time they get back to London.
Look,
so
Rod, can you see the votes that are coming in? We got 3 2s.
Oh, class.
I've never been to London with you, Rod. Do you know what I mean? It's like
no, we haven't done a big like. To be fair, when me and you travel, the best crack we have is in the airport lounges.
Oh man, the last time we come back to Hamburg, I really wished we'd gone to the airport lounge sooner. When I started making fucking Bloody Marys and cocktails and eating Swiss rolls.
Swiss rolls and Bloody Marys, like.
Remember we were on the plane on the way back, and there was those fuddy duddies with the masks on, and they were like real fucking just some of the most bland bastards you could ever sit in a confined space with. And I started getting all, you know, because we were on the fucking turf for like 2 nights, and I got like a cough. So I started coughing. I was like, oh no, they're going to think I've got corona. I'm like, so what? You know, it's not legal to cough into your sleeve. But then I tried to keep the cough in, which, you know yourself, it's just going to come out worse later on. So I had to go to the bathroom, and I coughed so much from holding them in that I thought I was going to throw up. Just because some dickheads in masks in front of me were like, oh, I mean, you were telling some fucking juicy tales.
Yeah. And then once he was giving you some looks then as well, and then I kept hitting the back of the seat. Stop.
Thought we were going to get into a scrap with them and easily dispatch them.
The thing was, even on the flight on the way over, like the air hostesses or whatever, the people serving us were really, really cool people. Like, weren't they? Like, they were just fucking.
What was your man's name? Was it Bruno, the guy who we were on the way, and he gave us like a free beer as well because he was sound.
Yeah, and they were going like because we had different seats, and they gave us like 2 seats together with extra leg room. Let's move and all. And they were really cool. So on the way back,
didn't he mention something about taking pills or something? He was like, oh,
That's right. Going like ecstasy. Oh. It was good fun. That was a good trip. But London would be fucking nuts.
Oh man, it'd be great crack. Paul Gallagher will be there, and a couple of other local headers. Ruth will be there, and then Stephen Kelly, man, you get to hang out with Stephen Kelly.
I know. But like,
you'll get to be on. You know, it'd be nice for you to come over and just like be with us at a gig.
So I'm not playing. No. I'm just there to hang out.
Yeah, fucking absolutely, man. You'll have great crack. When was the last time you were in London?
Fucking, I don't know why. Maybe. Fuck, I don't know. I don't know if I've been in London since I moved to Sweden, actually.
Because imagine this, Rodders, yeah? You come over with me, we'll put you up with us, and then afterwards then we get to go home together and have a laugh on the way home, and maybe stop in for a few Lutioners in town just to land the plane after the plane has been landed.
Like the thing is, we're good traveling companions.
Do
you know what I mean? Like, we've got
Easy Street.
And there's no fucking hassle. Like I'm happy to share a room with you as well, because like
armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons.
I sent Paul Gallagher a video today of
The
do you remember
uncut version.
the floor he was staying on, and we weren't allowed up. And
Yeah.
then our keys wouldn't let us up. And then the guy in reception, he said to him, "Oh, like we're famous and all, let us up there." And the guy let us up on the Paul's floor, remember? And you're at the
Yeah,
banging on
Gallagher.
the door. Gallagher, and you got a whore in there, Gallagher.
You got no who in there, Gallagher. No, it's funny, around some parts of Swinford, they don't say Gallagher, they say Gallagher.
Donegal's Gallagher.
Yeah, hey, Gallagher.
And the best crack was they would get in there and he was having some food, and he'd bought like some scones or whatever, or some bread from Lidl. And you walked into the room, you pointed at it, and you went, "Lidl by Lidl."
Little by little, give you everything you ever dreamed of.
It was incredible. Just this once off fucking thing where, do you know what I mean? You're along with Nolan, Liam's brother. Go London over a Rangers Celtic, see it one last time before Putin nukes it. Fair enough. I think, do you know what? I'm going to try and do both. A shite at being old firm. CM Fox, who do you support? Do you have a dog in that fight? I'm not a Celtic fan, but Rangers are complete wankers.
Are you a Hibs fan, Rod?
I'm Hibs. Well,
I'm
Hibs, obviously. Hibernian in my second team.
No, that Finn, like that shout out I did on the cameo, or was it cameo?
Yeah.
Or yeah, when I mentioned Finn Harps, I stuck it up on TikTok, and Finn Harps reposted it, and they were like, "Didn't see this crossover coming."
The fucking chairman was texting me about it. He was going like, "Oh man, that's unreal. Hardy Bucks are fucking Hardy Bucks, because Mayo don't have a League of Ireland team." They were saying
No,
we could get Finn Harps. Yeah.
It's a shame Mayo don't have a League of Ireland team. I think Castlebar Celtic is the biggest team we've got.
Yeah, they're fucking brilliant. I remember playing against them a long time ago, man. Castlebar Celtic were always a really strong side. And then Gavin Dykes used to manage them. And I'm not going to turn this into a football conversation. But Gavin Dykes used to manage them, and they tried to get into the League of Ireland one time. And they didn't get in. And now there's like, most of my teams are from the south. There's a few teams, team from Kerry, Limerick, 2 teams from Cork, load of teams from Waterford, Bray, and then away, it's Ulster and Sligo, really. And then Dundalk, Drogheda, if you want to even go that way. But that's it, basically.
CM Fox says, I'd lean towards Celtic, put it that way, but I'd be a WBA fan. How are you, Melody Pugh?
West Brom.
Oh, West Brom, yeah, well, yeah, West Brom. Same as Arnie. What's going on, guys? Being out rocking with the dance floor with the old faces. How the hell? We're very good, Melody. Fair play to you for being out and about. You've entered the conversation at a good point. An hour and 38 minutes into it.
That's a really good game.
But for any of you guys in the chat, we will be doing the gig in Arizona on the 14th of April. So, like, Sean from Chicago, I'm like, oh, fucking, you know what? I might go down to see the boys down in Phoenix. Anyone else over in the States? Now's the chance to come and see myself and Stevie Kelly, shake the claw, have a few drinks, kick back, have a bit of a laugh. And if you're there in the UK, we'll be doing 2 shows in London. The first show is a small one in Anlon's, Anlon O'Brien's bar in O'Brien's, I think, in Ealing Broadway on the 21st of April. And then the 22nd of April, we're going to be in the Laurels in Harrow. So hopefully my main man Rod will be joining on that. And my main woman, Mahal, over there will be joining me for in Phoenix. So there's going to be some spicy times.
Is Mo going to the States?
She is indeed, hey. She is indeed.
I'm sure she put
taking her over stateside.
Get some sun cream on this time.
Oh, listen, man, I can't do what I did in Cancun. You see, you know what? My folly was compounded by the idea of I just wanted to go back to Sweden and be like, look, I've been on a holiday somewhere warm. Look at me. I'm a special boy. And yeah, I ended up getting absolutely fucking roasted after. Yeah, Sean says, Phoenix, you're going to need some lotion with SPF 10,000.
like the photographs of you that time when you got the sunburn in Mexico. Like it was like you looked like you should
I
have been in
still like my
hospital.
legs
Like,
are
it was
still
like-
red from the like my
Right,
legs.
right.
Like there was this guy coming around to the beside the pool, and he's like, "Hey, can I interest you in going to the spa?" And I was like, "Hey, check out this, man! Look at this!" So I like lifted up the leg of my shorts, and you can see freckles just appearing in real time. And he was like, "Wow, man, I've never seen this before." And I was like, "Me neither." Then later on, absolutely fucking like poor Mo, man. She had to put up with me just constantly going, "Ah." I had the
Man, I met
mobility
you a
of
week
a
later.
75-year-old man.
I met you a week later, and I was freaking out. I was like, "Fucking hell, man! I think you should go to the doctor." Like you were like,
Yeah.
like you were purple.
Shawneen says Ibiza. Oh, Phoenix, the Ibiza of the Southwest America. Come down, Sean, for the crack, man. It'd be fucking great to have you down there. And anyone else of the Maloney's Digest family, very welcome. But that gig in Harrow is going to be fucking great crack, man.
They all get done for free. So anybody that's on here, if they turn up at the gig and say Chucky or La at the door, you get in for free.
Code name Chucky or Law. You have entered Chucky or Law. Wigan 2, Bolton Wanderers 4.
Do you know, I was close
Everton
to trying
1, Millwall 0.
You know, I was checking flights, Martin, to go over to the States like up until last week even. And then like Maria was going to go and stuff as well. But then was like, you have to get a jab and all.
Well, I think, you know
And
what,
then-
Rod? I think they're actually doing away with that shit now because
next month. Next month.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be the 10th of April. It's over, but they've officially ended the state of emergency, which is fucking non-existent anyway.
Yeah,
because
I think it'd be interesting to see how many people will get a vaccine again. Like people that happily got.
well,
it
they
the first time
flipped it now,
around.
man. Do you know what I mean? It's like people don't trust them. And it makes me wonder what kind of shite we've already been injected with over the past.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
exactly,
not,
but
you know, it's just you've got to start questioning, like, if you've got that geek with glasses and tits saying, "Oh, we want to," you know what? Let me just show you this, right?
And that was a problem. The minute that you question, I think there was one point during COVID where if you questioned anything, you were fucking completely locked into the conversation, completely shut down. You couldn't say anything. Obviously, we did that thing with Joe Rogan on Spotify as well, and it was like, I don't think he was saying anything that bad, and it was like he was getting fucking hammered, man. And it was like,
yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? These things, Rod, they're huge con jobs, they're massive schemes, and the idea is just make as much fucking cash as you can, stir up as much fear and doubt as possible, and then just quietly fizzle it out and be like, yeah, on to the next crisis. And I think, man, these fuckers have they have the media as be cute, says Graham Russell. But you know, basically they can just launch all of the media in lockstep anytime they need to wheel out a new crisis that basically enriches them. And like, people must look at me when I say this thing and they're like, how do you're a crazy conspiracy. Oh, such a silly man. You're so silly. You smoked too much of the Babylonian jig-jags. Too silly. Probably did too much acid. Too many pills. You've broken your brain. But it's just like, if you've ever had any dealings with like even petty crime, you understand the mindset. So if you transfer any experience you've ever had in the petty to moderate crime days, and then you just transpose that to the cream of the crop of white collar corporate crime, it's the same principles, because at the end of the day, they're human beings trying to get away with pulling the wool over people's eyes. And like I said, the Mark Twain thing of it's easier to fool the people than to convince them that they've been fooled. And the problem is, people don't want to, for two reasons. They don't want their egos damaged by admitting that they had been fooled. And secondly, if you start questioning certain things that have turned into absolute bullshit, then you've got to be like, well, what else is bullshit? And it's like you've got this kind of like carefully curated lifestyle based on things you're taught from school and the news and culture. And then you start going, well, if that's not real, what else isn't? And then basically you just have to start rethinking everything and being like, well, we're just flying on the seat of our pants at this stage, like, and you're just dodging psyops. What do you think about that, Roger?
I think it's healthy. I don't think nowadays, I don't think that conspiracy theory is like even a bad word anymore, bad words anymore. But nowadays, it's like more and more people are waking up, seeing how fucking tied up the mainstream media is. Like the ongoing joke is what what's the difference? What's the difference in a conspiracy theory and real life? 6 months?
6 months, 6 weeks, maybe.
That's good, crazy. And what's he called? Graham Hancock. The guy does the
Matt Hancock. Graham Hancock was They Think It's All Over.
No. What do you call it? What do you call the guy?
Matt Wancock.
What do you call the guy? He does there was these events that fucking wipe out the world. Like he believes it's humans.
Graham Hancock. Sorry, Graham Hancock. Wait, who's the other? What was the Hancock guy from? They Think It's All Over. It is now. Ian Hancock. Room 101. No, that was Lee Hurst. And Lee Hurst has actually been coming out with some spicy stuff lately. You know, it's funny because some of the most random people, like such as like Lee Hurst, Matt Letizia, Right Said Fred. Do you know what I mean? You've got all these like 90s legends.
Jedward Bateman. That's what I love.
Jedward, man. Those guys, you know, I'm going to say this in plain English, and it's a controversial word, but they are retarded.
Oh man, they are more entertaining than fucking anybody in a long time. They're fighting with Jim Davidson. Jim Davidson and Jedward.
My old man's a racist. He wears a racist cap.
You couldn't make it up. You know, they're like, I think like you mentioned this before as well. Until you get rid of the labels of right and left.
Oh, it's all bollocks, man. It's centralized versus decentralized. That's what it is these days. It's statism, or it's basically, do you want more government or less government and autonomy and freedom?
I'm less government.
Tony Warner. Do you know who Tony Warner is, Rod?
He was the reserve goalkeeper for Liverpool.
I remember I used to have a picture of like Liverpool back in 1996 that I think I got out of like Goal or Shoot or one of those magazines, and didn't Matt Letizia do didn't he score a goal from the halfway line? I think he did. But this magazine, it had a picture of like the Liverpool team: Robbie Fowler, McAteer, Jason McAteer, you know, fucking. Oh, what's his name? McManaman, yeah, Steve McManaman and Mark Kennedy and the boys. All these lads were in it, and there was a picture. And then in the middle of the Liverpool team, you had David James and Tony Warner, like this, with their goalkeeper gloves, like they were standing up in the coffin. Do you know what I mean? I love the way they were showcasing their hands were the fucking thing that stopped the ball. But Tony Warner wouldn't really get many gigs. It'd be David James who was.
Did he ever actually play a game?
I think he did. Phil Babb. Graham Russell knows the crack. Phil Babb was also on the Ireland team. Mark Kennedy back in the day. Do you remember back in the day when Ireland were actually a fucking great football team? You know, like you look at Ireland in the 90s, where it's just like long balls right up the fucking center of the pitch, and then shots on target non-stop. How have they fucked that up?
Everybody in.
Yeah, but like I just find like they're not an aggressive football team. Do you know what I mean? They play too defensively because they're like, it's almost like their morale has been broken. And obviously, yeah, fair enough. Like you got the England team, which has got like, what's his name, Harry Keane, Maguire, which I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Grealish, Rice. You have a whole load of lads there who basically, if they played on the Ireland team, that would be a huge, massive difference. Like Tony Cascarino, I think like Ray Houghton was, you know, Steve Staunton. You had all those lads who were basically, I think they had like one grandparent that was Irish or something.
Staunton was from Dundalk or Drogheda or something, but Houghton was from Buncrana. His family's from Buncrana in Donegal, but he was in Glasgow. And him and Pat Nevin. Do you remember Pat Nevin played for Chelsea?
Oh, that's a while
Pat
ago.
Nevin, he was a Scottish captain. Like Pat Nevin was an amazing player. Pat Nevin wanted to play for Ireland, and Houghton wanted to play for Scotland. And both of them ended
Really?
up working in the.
Do you remember that final between Man United and Liverpool in '96? Liverpool were in the green and white away. That was a fucking sickener, that game, man. It's funny because I was always an Everton supporter when I lived in Merseyside, and then I moved to Ireland. And it was like, are you Everton, Liverpool? And I was like, Liverpool looking pretty good, man. So I was like, I had the old Everton jersey with Danker on it, and then I just like, yeah, I guess I'm a Liverpool fan now. But I want to see Everton do well as well.
I was like, do you remember Cantona scored quite late? But there was chaos everywhere. There was fighting in every town and village in Ireland between fucking Irish people that supported Man United and Liverpool. I find it quite bizarre. Like where I was from, man, there was fucking people.
Yeah, but there was a bitter rivalry there between Man United and Liverpool in the 90s.
Yeah, but Man United and Liverpool. But these people aren't Scousers, mind? They're from Babel.
No, well, I find that weird that you can get so impassioned about a club that isn't even in. It's poor, really, when you have Croatia and Uruguay that only have the same population as Ireland, but look at the players they produce. I know they have GAA, but handball is popularist sport in Croatia. Yeah, really? I didn't know that.
Right. It's right, but this is what I was kind of getting at there. Because the thing is, like, Irish people support Liverpool and Man United and Celtic and fucking Rangers. And
well, I think that's because it's the amount of Irish people that go to those cities and have, like, set up their own.
Fair. Yeah,
like,
of course.
I remember being in Liverpool.
You can't expect Irish footballers when there's no money in the country for football. Because everybody.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate that all the Irish players in, like, you've basically got, League of Ireland, which I mean, you can't really blame the players because it's like if you're good enough to get into the Premiership, then you're going to play in the Premiership. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to be some fucking nutter just to be like, I'm going to stay in like Shamrock Rovers for the rest of my career and try and bring them as far as I can. It's like if Zlatan had stayed playing for Malmo.
But the thing is, like, I'm slightly biased, obviously, because it's a League of Ireland, it's a league I watch.
Graham Russell says, I'd say your man is a Finn Harps fan.
And I would say you're fucking right, Graham. I would say you're spot on.
RoboGarda says, was there a class difference between Everton and Liverpool supporters? I don't think so, no. I think they're both Finn Harps. I'd say that they're both like working class clubs, but as my girlfriend Mo would say, we were talking about Everton are building a new stadium, but yet they're fucking floating dangerously close to the bottom three. And I don't think Everton has ever been relegated since the Premiership began.
Have they not?
But
there must be one of them.
I don't think so. No, they've been in the Premiership since it began. And I said to Mo, I was like, they're building a new stadium. She was like, maybe they should have waited with the stadium, won a few more matches.
It was like Bill Shankly said, that's Bill Shankly, what he thought of Everton. And Bill Shankly said there's two teams in Liverpool and Liverpool Reserves.
That was a low blow.
Dirty. But where is it? In Stanley Park, they're having the stadium?
Stanley Dock. So it's like round Stanley Dock Market.
I like Liverpool. I think it's like one of the.
Yeah, I haven't been for 10 years. At least 10 years. I think it was the last time I've been in Liverpool. CM Fox says, I'm becoming an expert in Croatia. My kid's best mate is Croatian lad at school. The parents keep inviting us around. Very nice people. To be fair, I thought Croatia was an Orthodox country, but it's Catholic. Yeah, it is. It's mostly Catholic. And I think maybe that was like some of the division back in the Balkan Wars, because you had the Bosnians and Kosovoans that were predominantly Muslim. Then you had, because that was because of the Ottoman split. And then you got Croatia, who are Catholic, and Serbia, who are Orthodox. What do you think of Dave Rogers? Asks Graham Russell.
He's a fucking top man, or Dave. Top man.
He's a top shagger.
He's a Scouse man in the heart.
Hey, tell me this, Rodders. Is he a top shagger?
I don't know. I haven't partied with him yet.
You know, like that word, top shagger. I did a cameo video for someone and they just said, tell him he's a top shagger. But I just found
What
that
is that?
such a funny thing. Like a top shagger is in like that man's class at shagging.
Like, what is that?
Like
Is that Belgium
shagging
or
is a word that used to be used like back in the day an awful lot.
Where-
Hey, fucking
where'd the word riding
shagged
go?
her, hey, shagged.
Right?
Such a
Riding
beautiful
was
word.
best.
That
You're right. He's
riding.
riding.
Did you go
That was
riding
the
the
best.
weekend?
Where'd
I
that one
don't, but I
go?
think shagging is funny. It's like, yeah, I was fucking
Shagging.
shagging all night, man. There was a lad from Swinford who I won't name, but he's
Go on.
good friends with Eugene, as in Uncle Mick. And back in the day, like he was out on a fucking all night bender and doing a bit of shagging or riding. And Eugene goes up and he's sitting in the passenger seat of a red Toyota Carina with nice alloys. And Eugene just said, well, how would you get out? Where are you until now? And he was drinking a tumbler of brandy in the passenger seat in a glass. It's about 11 in the morning. And he grabs his fucking package and goes, I was in Kilkelly. Who he was with, no one knows. But apparently your man in question, and people will know who this is, as in the people that are in the know. He was a great athlete and a fine handballer. And that's as far as I'll go. But I tell you one thing, man, he could plow a furrow. No bother.
Do you remember I told this story like when I was like 16, 17, I was working in a pub in the village where I'm from. And it was like, I mean, you could write a book on the characters that drank in there. The amount of shit I heard. Like the guys had been working in London, they've been like these boys have been working
London
all over the world. And they were like, one of the guys was like a woman's man, big time. And he sat and he went, I have fucking shagged every woman from Ballbofay, Kelly Garden, Castlefin, and Strabane. Every woman, apart from me.
He was working in a quadrant formation.
Apart from my
Married
mother
or
and
not,
sister.
give a fuck. There's some interesting football trivia, Rod, from CM Fox. I'll just say Modric and form. Sorry, let me just cut you off for a second. We'll resume that. Sorry, I've got this attention span is fucked. ADHD. Modric and former lead striker Mark Viduka are first cousins, even though the latter wasn't even born in Croatia. He played for Australia. Small world. It is a small world, CM Fox, but I wouldn't want to hoover it. But I know, like Mark Viduka, man, he was back in Leeds during the Dave O'Leary days in '99 when, remember, they fucking took a gamble, stuck everything into buying all those players, and then they didn't make the Champions League. And that was it then. The whole fucking shithouse went up in flames. But if he managed to succeed, they would have been like top tier for about 5 or 6 years at least after that, I reckon.
David O'Leary never managed again after, did
he? Well, apparently he was writing his memoirs at the same time. And maybe he should have been focusing on tactics. Dave O'Leary. Well, look at Rod as Miolshkin and chat. Rod, will you come to London now? Good lad. We'll go to London.
We'll have to book a flight soon now.
Good lad. We'll take care of that. We'll do that now off the phone, off the stream. And I promise you, I'll take you to Wing Wing. We're going to Wing Wing in Leicester Square or Russell Square, wherever the fuck it is. And I'll treat you, Rod, to the nicest fucking chicken wings.
Does it matter
what
whether
treat you to the nicest chicken wings, man.
Let me throw in that punchline. The story I was telling there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the top shagger from Ballbofay.
The guy was going. I've tackled every woman in this valley, apart from my woman and my sister, or apart from my mother and my sister. And the guy sitting beside him stuck out his hand. He went, "Well, put it there because between us we got them all." I'll never forget that. I never hear that guy much about fucking women again after it. So it was like,
that's fucking genius, man. Well, we're nearly at the 2-hour mark. Thanks very much, Rodders, for coming on. It's a fucking pleasure to have you on. You were definitely, from what I've seen in the comments section, it said that you were a great guest and to bring you on more often. And you know, you've got some great fucking guests, some good people there in the chat. And don't forget, if you're in London on the 21st, 22nd of April, come and see us. And Rod will be there. And come and meet us in Arizona on the 14th of April. Russell Brand Square. What do you think of Russell Brand, Rod, before we go? He seems to... I really liked Russell Brand in the very beginning when he started on... what was the name? The MTV Floor Fillers or whatever it was called, the dance chart show, and he would just be going around to festivals, getting off his tits on pills, interviewing people.
Yeah.
But I remember at 18 looking at him on MTV, going, "This lad's fucking hilarious, man." He had that sense of humor that was, I suppose, very similar to my sense of humor in terms it was like everyday observations that were just thrown in, and it was like, it's stuff that people knew, and that most comedians wouldn't take that chance in case it was misinterpreted or they didn't get the joke. But he was like, he was always like when he had that Big Brother's big mouth, and there was one episode, there was some lad in the audience who had like curly hair, and he went, "Oh, you look a bit like Robert Plant." So, those kind of things. It's just very like. But I like the way he's now.
You remember? He dressed up as Osama bin Laden and shot up a load of heroin and went on and presented live on MTV, and they sacked him. Like that's what I first remembered him. It was like,
yeah, man, didn't he wank some lad off in a pub, and then they took that on Nathan Barley. You know, it's like, Dan Ashcroft, you got to go straight on straight. You got to use this glove. Well, can I use a glove? Yeah, use this. It's just like one of those red builder's gloves. It's just
like nowadays. Like I like him again now. Like I've started watching some of his stuff on YouTube, and he's not like, he's just looking at both sides of everything, and I like that. Like,
yeah, that's what you got to do, man.
He would have been self-proclaimed socialist as well, and I don't think the words left and right now don't mean fuck all. And
they don't, man.
Some of the stuff that he puts up there, like Caitlin Johnson and stuff like that, like he just questions both sides of everything, like even what's going on in Ukraine. I like him. I
mean, it was interesting to see that he was on Tucker Carlson as well. Did you see that when he went on? He was on Bill Maher, and then he was on Tucker Carlson. Oh, look, Vladimir Lenin. He says, "Yes, boys, watching from Wallasey at the moment. Whereabouts are you, lad? How's Liscard looking, mate?" I've really got to go back to Wallasey. I've been there for years. You are?
Did we meet him in Hamburg?
Vladimir Lenin. What was it?
We met
in the kebab shop.
In the kebab shop.
Do you know that kebab shop, Rod? It was fucking brilliant, man. The fact that you could just drink beers all night and just buy chips with curry sauce. I was like, this is like, where else do you need to be? It's just like food and drink on tap.
Nightclubs and bars everywhere. Maybe you met the kebab shop or local.
But to be honest, I think we were both like sick of pubs at that stage. Some of those pubs we were going, like, remember that time we went into that pub and there was just like a load of lads kipping there, and I sat on this guy's seat and he moved me out of the way, and I was like, sorry. And then he was just like sleeping on the fucking bench in the pub. It was look, what does it say here? Liscard looking the same as always. Pretty sure they still got the same Christmas tree. From the time when Cilla Black came and opened the Cherry Tree Centre in 1994.
You sound like Sam Walker.
Who's Sam Walker?
He's a Scouse lad that was fucking. He's been in jail for a few years, and he kept
doing time in fucking Walton.
But he kept smuggling in phones and fucking like doing all the recording himself and all, putting it on YouTube. And the authorities went and took it off. And a week or two later, he'd be back on again. And he was like, he went on the run one time and done this charity thing in Africa. And he would be on YouTube phoning up the cops and stuff. And
so he was doing live streams from prison.
And when he was on the run, when the cops were like, he was one of them. He was like in the top 10 most wanted or something at some point.
He was a top 10 shagger. I was going to say, Rod, have you been on TikTok? Like, it's fucking mad. Like, if you look on TikTok, there's like live videos happening in Sweden. It's usually like young teenage girls having some sort of like slumber party, and they're all dressed up in makeup. And then you've got like weird African dudes who are like commenting, going, "Very nice. Me make sex with you. Very nice." And then he's got like so many people like hosting these live streams on TikTok, and there's like some of them have maybe like 15 viewers watching, and then it's just like people are just on the piss at home doing these TikTok lives. Not too dissimilar to what we're doing here, Rob, but I think that YouTube is a bit more of a credible platform.
Yeah, don't even be on it, but like I've got a daughter who's 15, coming 16 quite soon. And she, like, her and her friends are on TikTok, and one of her friends' mothers has become quite famous now in Stockholm, putting up like comedy, like lip sync stuff and all. And
yeah, that lip sync, man, I don't understand why that's. I remember all that shit with fucking carpool karaoke with that fat prick James Corden.
I don't like that. I don't like that fucking man. Like,
He's a bit of a
I've heard
wrong.
people, like I've heard people know him, and they reckon behind the scenes he's just such a fucking uncool guy. To put it mildly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
No, it's right.
I remember reading a book or reading a story about, or no, not a story, reading an interview that someone said about like they were doing the Suicide Squad and you had like Jared Leto and Will Smith were in the Suicide Squad and it was like, oh man, he's so wild, man. He'll be like pretending to walk down the stairs, but he'll be actually going behind a couch. And he'll be like dropping whoopee cushions on the set. Oh, guy's such a prankster. I was like, wow. Fuck me.
Charlie Sheen.
Oh, nah. Winning. Tiger blood, man. I'm winning all the time. Yeah, Charlie Sheen, man, I'd say he's got some skeletons in the closet.
I could
Some
lift the
dildos
sheep
as
when he was
well.
up. We've all been there.
I heard he shagged the sheep the last night.
And your man David Arquette, remember? He was
He's
he was
another
on the
fucking
track as well.
mad fucker.
And then who was he married to? It was
Courtney
whoever he
Cox.
was married to. Remember?
Courtney Cox, wasn't
that
it?
was what it was. And and it was a massive fucking, it was all over the media internationally. So they were waiting from an LAX airport, and he knew this. And he said, when he got in there, he'd 10 dwarfs with him.
He what?
That was it. Just in 10 dwarfs walking along, went through the airport. And you, the paparazzi,
He did.
instead of trying to avoid him, but David Arquette, he's looking up there. He was looking, instead of trying to avoid them and run them off, he could load of fucking dwarfs to be his minders.
It's fucking brilliant, man. I never knew
Yeah,
this.
that's my-
You know what?
that's
That
my
sounds
story,
fun.
right?
When did this happen?
Oh man, it's like whenever I get divorced, let me see if I can find it.
So in 2010, he was 39, which would make him 52 now. And 39-year-old David was the center of attention as he indulged in some dirty dancing with a female dwarf. Wow. He's a bit of a
That's not
fucking
even it.
book. That was in LAX, that was.
Let me see if I can find this.
David Arquette on the highway.
David Arquette reveals his single status. That's not even the one now. There's another one where he's got a load of these wee guys escorting him through the airport. It's amazing. Instead of hiding. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
There's a guy we know over here in Stockholm called Kim, who I haven't seen for years, but Liz was having a house party one night, and he's, a dwarf or a small person, to use the politically correct. But we were standing in the kitchen of Liz's party, and I don't know why, man, I just felt compelled to lift him up. And I tried to lift him, and it was like, I thought he'd be handy to levitate, let's say, or I thought he'd be quite portable, and turns out that he was actually very heavy. And I was like, fucking hell, man, nearly did me back in trying to lift him up. And he turns around and he goes, hey, mate, don't do that, mate. Don't do that. I was like, fuck, sorry, man. Didn't know you'd take such umbrage to me trying to lift you. He just looked like lifting a big baby. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted to lift him up and see what the dimensions were like. I just needed to be with him in that moment. So, Carl Murphy.
There is a dwarf called Carl Murphy. Do you remember the night that I asked him to come and play? I asked him to play downstairs in Liffey one night. And when he was all excited, he asked to be played. And when he came down, I had like a high chair, baby seat set up on the stage, not for him.
Oh, man. That video where Aaron Kennedy comes and puts him in like a sleeper hold as he's inside the baby chair.
Yeah, that's it.
He was like, you fucking cunts, man. You're some cunts.
Incredible footage. An MMA professional.
Sean said, I triggered Kim's PTSD when I tried to lift him. Well, look, Wadders, I'm going to shoot off because got the kids coming over handy enough tomorrow. But thanks very much for jumping on. Thank you to Dr. David. And thank you all to the viewers of Maloney's Digest. we're coming up to 2 hours and 10 minutes. I did say to the good lady of patience over there that it would be an hour, and you know what? We've had a blast. I've had a blast talking to everyone. Vladimir Lennon, lad, I might see you around Cherry Tree Shopping Centre, cash converters. And I'll tell you something, there used to be a video shop by the Cherry Tree Centre. And that's when I looked at the back of the Predators, Predator 2, and he's like, he's invisible, he's invincible, and he's got a few days in town to kill. Do you remember that? The cover of Predator 2, Rod? And he had like a skeleton, with a skull with a spinal cord, and a little triangular bit at the bottom. He was just holding it, and he showed it on the front cover, and I was like, ugh. And then I was like, oh, that's Bill Paxton's head. Poor old Bill Paxton. Favorite Predator movie, just before we go?
One. I didn't know there was two.
You never knew there was a Predator 2 with Danny Glover?
No.
Really?
I'm not into that kind of spoof stuff, you know.
Fair enough. Graham Russell says, I'm getting the word. Dwarf nonce. Cash converters. It's still going. Fucking hell, man. My sister's ex-boyfriend, Hayden, used to work in there back in the mid-90s. And I remember he was like a long-haired, cool dude. And I walked in one day and he had all these like cool rings on his fingers and he was playing a Strat unplugged. And I was like, wow, he looks cool, man. Predator 1, Molly Kelly in Parkfield Drive. It'd be great to catch up with my old school friends from St. Albans and St. Mary's. 2 Catholic schools, lads, you know what I mean? Could have went to St. Anselm's in Birkenhead, but I wasn't a fucking rich lad. But Glover in the middle of the jungle, Jesse Ventura. Right. Well, anyway, lads and lasses and Uncle Rodders, have a lovely night, Morcara. And I wish all the best for this coming week for all of the viewers. Any parting message before you leave?
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Fair enough. Nicely put. All right, Rodders, mate. It's been a fucking pleasure hanging out with you. And it's been great talking to the chat as well. You're fantastic. Love you to bits. And enjoy your week and have a good one. And by the way, on Wednesday evening at, I think it's going to be 7 o'clock my time, I'm going to have Gareth Icke, David Icke's son, on again with Richard Willett, the guy he co-presents his show with, and Leilana Dowling, who was a ex-glamour model turned contrarian. So the 3 of them will be on for a chat. So if you want to jump in there, that should be good crack.
Really good.
So that's going to be a mellow, spicy one. And yeah, you're all invited to the party. Well, what is Mjolskin? Have a nice night, and I will end the broadcast here. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
God bless everyone.
We're hitting